he will become an extraordinary manager in the future. Extraordinary. I feel it. Like I felt it when I saw Mikel Arteta, is the same with Enzo. Will be an extraordinary manager.
When Enzo Maresca joined Chelsea, there were a lot of questions around his abilities as a manager.
I'm getting a real feeling that this is an underwhelming appointment.
Despite his success with Leicester, some fans weren't convinced.
How about we've got a young team who need guidance, so I know what we'll do. Let's get a young, inexperienced manager and hope that he's able to guide them.
The only thing Premier League fans knew about the Italian was that he spent time as one of Pep's assistant coaches.
Therefore, everybody who once shared coffee with Pep Guardiola is going to make a Premier League manager. It just does not work like that.
So how has Maresca transformed Chelsea from a team that was considered to be one of the least exciting teams
after this young, exciting team that could be? It's not a young and exciting team.
To one of the best sides in Europe again.
Chance to strike here, that'll do it for Chelsea. Conference League glory wrapped up by Moise Caicedo. The main man for the big occasion.
A statement victory to re-establish Chelsea back amongst the elite.
Eyebrows were raised with the appointment, Jules, of Enzo Maresca, but it's looking to be a genius stroke right now.
If you do the right thing inside the pitch, probably everything around the club calm down.
When you join a massive club like Chelsea, there are high expectations.
This job requires almost not 24 hours, but more or less.
There is pressure not just to perform on the pitch, but to be able to handle the situations that arise off the pitch.
Especially at the beginning, there were many noises around the club, but I always said that if you want to be focused on that side, you waste energy.
The squad is young.
Top of the league here. For youngest team in the league.
A big difference between the
2 years.
first,
2 years.
And the club is infamous for having a short leash for managers.
We are in a transition period. We are trying to build something important, not for this season, but for the next 5 years.
But while the world might have doubted Maresca, he was confident in his own ability. He had begun his managerial career at Ascoli. Yes, back then he had hair.
In that time I was long hair, so you can understand how many years ago.
He started out officially being appointed the assistant coach because he did not have the required coaching badges at the time. But even though he was technically second in command, he was respected by everyone. Even that early in his managerial career, his principles were obvious. He wanted to dominate possession, maneuver the opposition into traps, then take advantage of the open spaces at speed. Maresca's name began to pick up even more buzz among managers when he joined Manuel Pellegrini's backroom staff at West Ham.
Pellegrini has been a big part in my decision to try to be manager. I try to learn things from him, especially the relation that he has with players. That is a fantastic relation because it's very close.
Pellegrini had coached Maresca at Malaga, so he was aware of the Italians' footballing IQ. Funny enough, back in 2019, West Ham shocked Chelsea by beating them 1-0. A win that was masterminded by Maresca, who had taken over training from Pellegrini in the lead up to the game. Just like his time in Italy, Maresca was respected by the West Ham players, and according to The Guardian, they enjoyed his training sessions. So when City were looking for a new under-23s manager, it seemed that Maresca was the perfect candidate. In fact, according to The Athletic, City's sporting director Tiki wanted to pair Maresca with Pep, as he saw the Italian as a strong candidate to potentially succeed Pep in the future. It turned out to be the right decision, as Maresca led City to the club's first ever Premier League 2 title. Reports indicated that Maresca and Pep were in close contact in the 2021 season, partly due to the pandemic.
Working alongside Pep has been fantastic for 2 years, because even when I was with under 23, I was very close.
It is said that Maresca was the first under 23s boss to really make a connection with Guardiola. Due to their shared vision of the game, the two spoke a lot. A ton of football knowledge between them, not a lot of hair. In fact, The Athletic believes that the movement of a fullback into midfield was a theory that both Maresca and Pep discussed, as Maresca used that tactic with the under-23s at the same time that Pep began using Cancelo in the same way.
Of course, Enzo Maresca last season made an incredible job with these players, incredible job. I know it because we were together training many times and I saw them.
After a season with City, Maresca was picked up by Parma. He only spent one season there as well though, before he returned to City, this time as an assistant to Pep as part of his first team staff. It was a perfect partnership. Maresca was addicted to the game, just like Pep.
Work ethic, exactly.
That of a beast.
In terms of, he spent many hours.
Even compared to you?
Yes.
Reports indicated that Maresca studies managers and their playing styles from around the world, using folders on his laptop to keep track of teams that he thinks have been playing well or are worthy of further investigation, with a particular focus on patterns of play and modern tactical trends.
His whole method, it was like a numbers thing, so not just where the numbers are, where the overloads are.
Both during his time at City and at Leicester, players made it clear that Maresca was able to quickly and effectively get his ideas across.
Maresca has got his method. This is exactly how he wants to work. This is a proven method that he's studied over years and years of even when he was playing and into his coaching.
With all of this experience, combined with his title-winning season at Leicester, Maresca felt prepared to take on the challenge of managing Chelsea.
But it has been quite easy to decide to join this club because it's a huge club, for me one of the best or important club in the world.
Maresca's time with Pep clearly influenced him massively because just like Pep, Maresca came in with a plan and made it obvious who was not a part of his team going forward.
In this moment, they are training apart. As I said already the other day, the situation with both of them is quite clear.
Pep, when he came to Barca, immediately got rid of Ronaldinho and Deco. Then at City, got rid of Joe Hart. Good players objectively, but they didn't fit into Pep's vision. Maresca did the same to Chilwell, Sterling, and Chalobah. Now, funny enough, Chalobah left, came back, and established himself as a rock in the Chelsea back line. On one hand, you can argue that it's harsh, coming in and immediately telling players that they have no chance of making it into the first team.
I spoke with Raheem before City game. He's going to struggle to get minutes with us, and this is the reason why he was out of the squad.
But on the other hand, it directly helps everyone involved. The players knew where they stood, and the club was able to bring in players that actually suited the way Maresca wants to play. That's why Sterling was sent to Arsenal and was replaced by Jadon Sancho, a player who Maresca had a vision for.
As I said, I know Jadon very good because I watched him many times in the past.
One of Maresca's principles is to use width to create space. He wants his wingers to stay as wide as possible. This creates a lot of space in the center channels of the midfield, as seen from the goals the Blues scored against the Wolves. Those open spaces in the middle can be occupied by either Palmer or Jackson. The whole time the wingers stay wide, giving outlets for a switch in play. If the ball is switched, then the wingers will find themselves in 1v1 situations. This can really disorganize the opposition and create space in areas where normally it would be very crowded. Another one of Maresca's core principles is to have a numerical advantage in key areas of the pitch. He achieves this through inverted fullbacks, overloading the middle of the park.
Bring the fullback inside when we have the ball, because the idea is to have an overload in the middle, extra player in the middle.
Often either Cucurella or Gusto inverts into the midfield next to the holding midfielder, in this case Caicedo, freeing up space for someone like Enzo to push further up the pitch. This changes the team shape to a 3-2-5, creating a box in the midfield. Against teams that defend with 3 players in the center of the pitch, Chelsea will have a one-man advantage. Of course, the downside to this is that a lot of teams apply intense man-to-man pressure, which can cause defensive errors. To combat this, Maresca has instructed his goalie to be much more active in the build-up process.
Then when we try to play here and they are a little bit more aggressive, we need to come back with the keeper.
It is not uncommon to see the keeper advancing higher than normal to receive a pass or initiating a quick counterattack.
In this case, if this player drop here, the keeper is dropping in is going the opposite side.
So if the opposition decides to go to a man-to-man press, the back 3 will stretch and the goalkeeper will come in on the opposite side of whichever center back has the ball. That creates an 11 versus 10 situation, so once again Chelsea have the numerical advantage. Having an inverted fullback has probably helped Caicedo more than any other player. Under Pochettino, Caicedo would often find himself alone in the middle of the park. With the fullbacks hugging the sidelines and Enzo pushing more forward, he had too much ground to cover on his own and nobody was really close to him when he got the ball. But now, depending on who inverts in, Caicedo has either Cucurella next to him or Gusto. This also explains why Maresca didn't have faith in Chilwell.
Probably one of the quality for sure that he has to be able technically and be able to play in the traffic.
Gusto and Cucurella are much better on the ball and in tight spaces, which is exactly what he wanted to see from his fullbacks. The only way the opposition can really combat this is to go even more aggressive in their pressure and push more players up the pitch. But obviously this results in much more gaps behind the back line, which Chelsea can take advantage of with long balls in behind.
For the opponent is good because they can be more aggressive, but in the same time for us can be good because we are 1v1 winger in both sides. We are 1v1 number 9 and we are 4 against 4 in the middle, bringing out of his position the central defender. That is never easy for a central defender.
Chelsea love to target the spaces in behind and can create deadly 1v1 or 2v2 scenarios with long balls. The inverted fullbacks also help Chelsea defensively against transitions. With an inverted fullback, if Chelsea lose the ball, there are 5 players ready to defend.
In the moment that we lose the ball, we have 5 players defending the transition.
The players are also closer together, so when they regain possession, they can transition quickly to a counterattack. We have already seen Chelsea forcing errors from the opposition by pressing them quickly. The biggest issue that Chelsea face right now is against teams that don't want to press. Teams that are more than happy to stay compact and defend in a low block.
The opponent, they drop number 9 and number 10. So they do like this and like this. 4 against 4 in the middle. That, yes, become more difficult for us because there are no space that we can exploit here.
When teams overload the central zones, it limits Maresca's +1 numerical advantage philosophy. To solve this, Maresca relies on technically gifted players that can operate in tight spaces. Sancho showed against Bournemouth when he came on how to unlock a low block as he found an opening to play Nkunku through for the winner. Palmer is unbelievable. Not only can he create chances against low blocks, but he can also initiate counterattacking opportunities with his long passing. He can also be the one scoring the chances. He flourishes in the pockets of space that is created from the overload. What makes Maresca such a good manager is his flexibility, and we saw that on full display at the Club World Cup. He used the opportunity to experiment with some new tactical ideas in a competitive environment. I mean, just look at the different shapes Chelsea used in various games. Now, some of the tweaks were out of necessity, like when Jackson was suspended and Caicedo was suspended, but he does like to experiment with a lot of different ideas. I mean, the guy doesn't get called Chicken Parm Pep for no reason. We saw him experiment with Palmer as a left winger against Benfica, and we have seen Reece James play multiple games as a midfielder.
I see Reece as a midfielder, not now, since day one.
Now, the experiments don't always work, but it shows that he's thinking outside the box. Maybe a little too much. My guy was stressing before that Club World Cup final. But when his theories are applied to perfection by the players on the pitch, you get magic. And that's exactly what happened between Chelsea and PSG at the Club World Cup final. Maresca had played João Pedro against Fluminense due to Delap's suspension, but the Brazilian had played so well that he got the start in the final. And it was his positioning and movement that caused so much trouble for the PSG defense. Whether he was coming short or going in behind, he was a threat all game to the croissant lovers. By occupying the center backs, João Pedro created space on the right side, and it was from that side that all 3 of Chelsea's goals happened. First goal came from Gusto getting in behind, then finding Palmer. Second goal came from Palmer having too much space in the right half space. And the third goal was the same, except this time Palmer passed it to João Pedro, who chipped Donnarumma. This was no accident, it was planned all along. When Maresca analyzed the baguette lovers, he realized that Chelsea can do a lot of damage on their left-hand side, exposing the space behind Nuno Mendes.
Analyzing them, we saw that that was a good opportunity to exploit that space, and we use Cole and Malo in that side to create a little bit and overloaded that side.
Then out of possession, Chelsea were equally ruthless. They made sure the PSG midfielders couldn't even sniff the ball without being put under pressure. I mean, look at what Chalobah is doing in the 2nd minute of play. He's man-marking Fabian Ruiz right into the center of the park. He did the same thing again later in the game, this time with Dembele. Dembouz dropped into the pockets of space as the false 9, a pattern of play that had worked all season for the Parisiens, but not against Maresca's Chelsea. Following your man was definitely an instruction instruction that was given to the whole team, because here's Colwill doing the exact same thing to Dembele. While he follows the striker, Caicedo moves in to cover the gaps. It's this sort of analysis and tactical thinking that allowed Chelsea to win 2 pieces of silverware in what was supposed to be a development year. While winning cups is very nice, what has made Maresca stand out in my opinion is his ability to develop players. There are so many guys whose entire reputation has changed because of the Italian. Let's start with a player that is still polarizing, Nicholas Jackson. He's actually perfect for Maresca's system because he has the ability to drop deep as a +1 in midfield and provide support to the build-up.
9 dropping give us the chance to connect with him and to set the ball with the 2 in the midfielder, or if he's dropping too much, we can play with him and set the ball with the attacking midfielder ready to attack.
You see, when Chelsea are playing against a low block 4-4-2, initially in the first stage of the build-up, the inverted fullback gives them a numerical advantage. But they lose their numerical advantage in the center of the park. The 2 central midfielders, plus the 2 strikers, match Enzo, Palmer, Caicedo, and whichever of the fullbacks is inverted. To combat this, Jackson has to drop deeper into the midfield to give Chelsea an advantage numerically again, this time a 5v4. If one of the central defenders follows Jackson into the midfield, then that leaves the wingers isolated on the fullbacks, which is exactly what Maresca wants. Jackson's work rate is also essential for the way that Chelsea want to start pressing from the front. The difference between Pochettino's Chelsea and Maresca's Chelsea is honestly night and day. In the 2024 season, Chelsea lost 3-1 to West Ham. But in 2025, they dominated the Hammers 3-0. Another player whose reputation and performances have changed drastically under Maresca is Cucurella. This is a player who at one point looked like he was only signed for Brighton and Chelsea to launder money. Remember when he slipped twice against Spurs? Yet fast forward and the Spaniard was named the best left back in the tournament at the Club World Cup. Depending on the opposition, he's been asked to play multiple different roles. We've seen him operate as an inverted fullback, as a left winger, sometimes even as a left number 10. But he really found his best form as this box-crashing left back. Let's look at the game between Chelsea and Leicester in March of 2025. In possession, Cucurella pushed up like a left winger, just ahead of Moises Caicedo, with Cole Palmer in the middle, and with Enzo Fernandez on one side and Nkunku on the other. Now, Nkunku doesn't like to stick to the sideline. He likes to play in the inside, between the defenders. And that actually helped Chelsea, because this way Cucurella could stay wide or cut in, and his flexibility actually became the key to everything. During this goal, Nkunku stayed narrow and pulled Leicester's wingback, James Justin, inside with him. Enzo spotted the opportunity and passed the ball to the charging Cucurella. Now with Nkunku still posing a threat, Justin couldn't just move to stop Cucurella. Leicester's center back, Wu Faze, aka Sideshow Bob, wasn't close either. So Cucurella had time. He took a touch, looked up, and smashed the ball into the corner past Mats Hermansen. 1-0, all because of a great game plan from Maresca and smart movement from Cucurella. It's funny because he had done the same thing months earlier against Brentford. Same spot, just a different team. He was looking to attack the space in Brentford's defense in between the center half and the right back. When Madueke received the ball, Van de Berg moves over to Mark Jackson, which leaves Cucurella wide open. He attacks the space in the box, and Madueke did something which I thought he was allergic to. He passed the ball, and Cucurella headed it into the net. Do you guys think he feels anything if he heads the ball with the top of his head instead of his forehead? Considering he basically has a mop up there. And if you still somehow thought it was a fluke, here's him occupying the same space and scoring again, this time against Wolves. Maresca changed this man's life. And interestingly, he did the same thing for Enzo Fernandez. He had him push further forward and focus more on creating in the attacking third rather than having to drop to progress the ball. Enzo was getting more touches higher up the pitch, and that's why his goal scoring output increased so much in the 2025 season. Instead of relying on him to solely be a deep line playmaker, Maresca realized that Enzo has other qualities that can be utilized too. At Benfica and for the Argentina national team, he showed his goal scoring ability, and now Chelsea fans are witnessing it too. What Enzo Maresca has done so far is incredible, from dealing with all the off the pitch issues to getting results with a very young squad. Yes, a lot of money was spent, but let's not act like money directly correlates to winning. I mean, just look at Manchester United. Maresca has done a great job in integrating the new players and developing the existing ones. It's because of him that nobody talks about the price tag of Caicedo and Enzo anymore. It's because of him that Joao Pedro already looks like the next superstar.
The manager told me to play free, to do my best for the team. And I think I did.
Great managers make everyone better, and that's what Maresca's doing. Now, of course, with a young team, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. With the highs comes the lows. With the new signings that Chelsea have made, he has some new problems on his hands. To see what issues the Blues have to deal with now, you have to watch this video right here.